Hello, everyone. This is Tia Diva with the Diva Lawyer Social Club, wishing everyone a happy 2021 and hoping everyone has gotten started to a great year. Today, I just wanted to come here to talk to my California viewers about the new laws that have gone into effect for this new year. Some of these new laws have already started effective January 1st. The remaining laws will become effective in by July 1st, 2021. So let's get started on the 12 new laws that will become effective in California for 2021. And a lot of these laws are really profound. The first one is a law concerning police officer uniforms. Starting January 2021, the police force in California will be prohibited from having camouflage uniforms or any other uniforms that resemble military uniforms. So that's a bit of good news. Hopefully, this law will be the catalyst needed to demilitarize the police. And so that's one of the first laws that are on the books now for California in 2021. The next law involves texting and driving. And I know I get many calls for traffic ticket representation involving texting and driving cases. And so, a bit of bad news about that. Now, there's going to be increased fines for people who text and drive. Um, Starting July 2021, this offense will result in a point on your license. So it will now be a moving violation. That will apply if you get two or more convictions for this offense within a period of time. And just be aware with regard to the texting and driving laws, the police don't have to show that you were actually texting and driving. The law has been revised to put you on the hook, even if you have the phone in your hand while you're driving. So I get a lot of cases where the police see the phone in your hand and they're going to say that you were texting and driving. So just be aware that starting in July of 2021, if you get two or more convictions for texting and driving, then that will result in a point being added to your license. And of course, we know points end up leading to increased insurance premiums and a lot of other things that we want to try to avoid. So just be aware that that law is going into effect soon. Third on the list, apparently, I mean, we've heard cases of people leaving their children in the car. Of course, it is already an offense to leave a child under 6 unattended in a car. Now there is an exemption in California for anyone who tries to rescue that child if they have to break your windows or break into your car to get the child out of the car. They will not be criminally or civilly liable for that. I find it quite astonishing that someone who would be trying to help a child get out of a car would face criminal or civil charges for, I guess, trespass or damage to property. And trying to help a child get out of the car. That's just surprising that they needed to implement a new law that protects people who try to help a child who's left unattended in a car get out of that car. So that's a bit of good news. I never would have even thought that you would be criminally or civilly liable for attempting to get a child out of a hot car from the get-go. So that's an interesting new law. Um, the fourth new law that's going into effect in California is the Covet Exposure Law. And of course, we here in Los Angeles, California, have seen an exponential increase in the number of COVID cases out there. From what I heard from a press conference yesterday, our numbers have doubled in less than a month. We started out with 400,000 cases in the state of California, and I'm not sure if that's the state of California or actually just the city of the county of Los Angeles, but I believe just for the county of Los Angeles now, our numbers are at 900,000, and that increased 400,000 cases in just the month of December. So it's really become a very serious thing here. And just to divert a little bit away from the original topic, um, I guess most people are aware now too that the city of Los Angeles, or the county of Los Angeles, is under mandatory quarantine orders. So therefore, if you leave out of Los Angeles County or out of Southern California and come back into this county, you must quarantine for a period of 10 days unless you fall into an exception. So things have gotten really drastic here. If you go out of the county limits, you're looking at a mandatory quarantine. And so now they also have established a new law for 2021 called the Covet Exposure Law. And this law will require businesses to notify employees and the public if they have been, if they've had a COVID exposure at the workplace. So now businesses who become aware that somebody has had COVID while in that area, while in that business, or while working at that business, they must tell the employees there and also notify the public. So that could be a major thing for a lot of businesses, especially businesses that might not be aware of this new law that is going into effect and might face consequences for not providing that notice. Um, so number 6 involves the minimum wage increase. Um, Starting now, I believe, the minimum wage for companies with 26 or more employees will be required to pay employees $14 an hour. And then for companies that have less than 26 employees, they now will be required to pay their employees, $13 an hour. So that is another law that's going to affect businesses come 2021, um, where they will need to pay this increased minimum wage. And I believe ultimately the top minimum wage that will be required for employers to pay in California will top out at $15 an hour. Number 6 is a very interesting law concerning reparations for descendants of American slavery. California has set up a task force that will study the history of slavery in the United States, and they have been tasked to determine how reparations will be paid out in the state of California if they do decide to implement that program, and if the state of California does decide to pay out reparations. This has been a very hot topic over this past election year, so I would be very interested to see how this task force develops and the recommendations they make behind it. And just stay tuned for progress with that. Number 7 is another situation concerning the criminal justice system here in California, which is about to go a serious overhaul. Usually a person who is sentenced to state prison, in certain cases, they can be qualified to participate in a program called the Fire Camp Program. This allows prison inmates to be able to work with the California Fire Departments to help with the massive fires that we suffer here in California pretty often. So a lot of times people who are convicted of a prison sentence can qualify for this program, and then they can get more credits for their release, so they don't serve as much time in prison as they are required to serve under their sentence. So now there's a new law that is going into effect that will give these inmate firefighters the ability to have their records cleared when they are released from prison. So that once they are released from prison, if they have participated in this program, this new law will give them an avenue to have their records cleared upon release from prison so that they can have an advantage of getting jobs, especially getting jobs as firefighters. So this is also very good news for the people who have participated in that program. Number 8 involves also the criminal justice reform system, which starting in 2021, they will allow parolees the right to vote. And this will allow parolees the right to vote after the completion of their sentence for after the completion of their parole sentence. Number 9 involves the expansion of family leave. So previously, companies with 50 or more employees were required to offer employees 12 weeks of family leave, and that only applied to companies that had 50 or more employees working with them. Now, companies with only 5 or more employees must offer this family leave to their employees. So companies of 5 or more employees are now eligible to get 12 weeks of family leave. And then going back to criminal justice reform topics, number 10 is the youth criminal justice reform provisions. California is now doing a total overhaul in criminal justice reform as far as youth offenders go. So now there is no more school to prison pipeline efforts concerning juveniles. Juveniles will now be referred to community support services instead of probation programs, and they will not become wards of the state. They will be phasing out juvenile prisons effective July 2021. So now there will not be juveniles that are going to be sentenced to any prison facilities. And then also, this new law requires that gives expanded abilities for juveniles to seek legal counsel while in police custody before questioning. So I know a lot of people get upset about juveniles being questioned without their parents present, and they say, oh, they should not, it's wrong that they're having them being questioned without their parents present. However, unless their parents are attorneys, that's still not providing people the protection they need when it comes to dealing with being questioned by law enforcement officers. You should never speak with law enforcement officers without an attorney present. A parent is not going to cover you. If you demand to speak to your parent before answering police questions, they're not bound to stop questioning you at that point. They are only bound to stop questioning you if you demand to speak to an attorney while before being questioned by law enforcement. So it is imperative that people do train their children early on to always request an attorney before answering questions of a police officer, especially if you are in police custody. I know sometimes people will get questioned by the police on the street or as part of a traffic stop. And at that point, even then, you might really want to be careful about what you say to the police at that time. Because ultimately anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. However, particularly when a person is in custody and they've been put in handcuffs or taken into a police station, this is where your demand to speak to an attorney before speaking to the police is imperative. So this new law for 2021 in California is going to give expanded rights to juveniles to seek legal counsel before speaking to the police. And I would just advise everyone to educate their children about the importance of demanding an attorney before speaking to law enforcement officers. And then there's a few other laws that are going into effect. California is implementing some new student loan borrower protections, and also they had issued a ban on tobacco, flavored tobacco, but that ban has been held up and delayed for now because I believe they received enough signatures on a petition to have that issue addressed by the voters. So at this point, there will not be a ban on flavored tobacco at this time until the voters decide what they want to do about that. My apologies for the interruptions. I should have told people that I was in the middle of the video. But that is a rundown of the 2020 laws coming to California. Some of these laws, again, have become effective now. A few of them will become effective in July of 2021. So please feel free to comment in the comment section of this video. If you have questions, if you want me to clarify some of these topics, if you want me to do a video on this or any other area of the law, to expand on what these new laws mean, or to talk to you all about the impact of various other laws, just please leave your comments in the comment section, and please also like and subscribe on this video. And there's a little notification bell also on this video that you can also click so that you can be notified and alerted when the Diva Lawyer Social Club goes post a video, so that you can stay on top of our topics and be on top of the developments in the law for this year. Thank you. You know,